Well, it's what God says.
God is a figment of your imagination. I'm sorry.
Well, how do you know it's a figment of imagination and what's not? Because how do you know I'm not a figment of your imagination right now?
We don't know.
Okay, then how do you know that God's a figment of my imagination if you don't even know what the true nature of reality is with your own worldview?
Then why are you here preaching a reality that's not real?
No, I know that human beings exist because the all-knowing beings revealed to me that human beings exist in the Bible. But you don't have, but you don't trust in revelation from omniscience. You trust in revelation from your non-omniscient mind. So you can't justify your beliefs because you don't know everything. But I'm appealing to an authority who does know everything, and I can trust that authority. We all have an authority that we appeal to, that we use to justify beliefs.
Let's go on the theory that God is real. Is he worth praising? Is he worth being worshipped?
Yes.
Why?
Simply because he is. That's just the nature of reality.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, he reveals to us that he's worthy of worship also, so we can know that through his revelation.
If you're an abusive husband, okay, and you abuse your wife, and then you say, you have to love me, is that a husband worth loving?
Well, where has God abused anyone? Are you saying that God has abused people and then told them to love him? Okay, yes. Who has God abused?
In your mythology, God is vastly abusive.
Well, abuse would be something that's sinful, but it's impossible for God to sin.
He has murdered countless people.
He has justly given death to people who deserve death.
No, that's called murder.
No, murder is the unjust killing of a human being, but he didn't unjustly kill them because he's always just.
The firstborn of the Egyptians, did they deserve death?
Yes, because they sinned.
Children.
Yes.
So you're saying killing children is all right?
For God, not for us, because we're not the judge. He's the judge, we're not the judge.
Very immoral God.
No, the book of James says there's one lawgiver and judge, he who is able to save and destroy. That's God. So we're not the judge, so it's not our prerogative to go around killing people. We don't have that authority because we're not the judge. There's one judge. We have to submit to the judge and respect other people.
Very abusive.
Why?
That sounds like a mental health problem.
No. So it's abusive for God to mete out justice?
An evil mythological creature.
No, it's not evil for God to judge people justly. Why would that be evil? Why would that be abuse?
Okay.
Because everybody deserves death. Everybody deserves death because everybody sinned.
Yes. Well, no on that part. Everyone dies, everyone deserves death to keep society running. If people were immortal, this society would break down, okay?
Well, death came into the world because people sinned against God.
Okay, why did they sin?
Because they had the ability to, and they had an evil heart.
Who gave them that heart? Who gave them that ability?
God did.
Okay, God is all-knowing. God can see the future.
He determines everything.
God is perfect.
He is, right.
Okay, yet he created creatures that he knew was going to sin.
Yeah.
That knew, he gave them the ability to sin.
Yeah.
He creates the rules, understand?
Right.
You're in your mythology, he creates the rules.
It's not mythology, but he does create the rules. So
I just don't want you to misunderstand.
Why is that wrong? What is the problem with that? Because God's the standard of good. Whatever he does is automatically good because there's no standard for good out there.
Are you a father?
I am.
Would you give, how old are your children?
My child is 1 year old.
Okay, I'm trying to get to a point where, would you give your child a razor blade?
No.
Okay. Why?
Because he could hurt himself.
I'm assuming you're a loving father, okay?
Yeah, but
as a loving father, you recognize danger to your children, okay?
Right, but not everybody's a child of God. Not everybody's a child of God. The Bible says there are children of God and children of the devil. In the book of 1 John, there are children of the devil.
You're deviating from the conversation.
No, I'm not, because you're saying that God does, he abuses his children. But are you saying it's abuse for God to give painful situations to his children? Because he does do that for Christians, his children. But that's not abuse, because it's okay. Abuse is sin.
Is it immoral to give his creation the ability to do do harm.
No, because he's the standard for good. Whatever he does is automatically good.
You're just glossing over it.
No, I'm not. Because sin is defined as that which is done against God by somebody who's not God. So God can't possibly sin or do something wrong because he's the standard for good. Whenever he does something, that's how we know what is good, because he did it. The fact that he did it means that it's good. So he can give pain to anybody he wants to, and he's always justified in doing that because he's the rule maker and he's always good. Also, everybody deserves pain because of their sin. So if God gives his child a razor blade and they hurt themselves, that's part of his plan for punishing them or disciplining them, giving them the pain that they deserve because of their sin.
You're not making any sense, because
why?
The analogy is loving father.
Right.
I'm assuming you're a loving father. You want the best for your children.
Right.
Your child.
Right. Sometimes giving pain to your children is the best thing for them. Like disciplining your children, like spanking them.
I'm talking about just abstract. When I told you, would you give your child a razor blade? Because you are in control of the situation. You are the one that's supposed to be looking out for them.
Right, but I'm not God.
It's an analogy.
Right, but the analogy doesn't work because I'm not the perfect being. I have to submit to the laws of the perfect being. Because he is. That you can't. There's
told you that.
God. So I have to submit to what God says about respecting image.
That's called circular.
Well, all reasoning is circular because everybody has to use recursive reasoning when they use their ultimate authority to justify every belief that they have in a chain of reasoning. So I could say that you have circular reasoning when you appeal to your consciousness to justify your consciousness.
It's called logic.
Well, you use your consciousness, you think, to try to demonstrate that your consciousness exists, right?
I use my consciousness to observe the world.
You say that consciousness exists, and you say that you use your consciousness to demonstrate that consciousness exists. That's circular. So all reasoning is ultimately epistemically circular.
Have you observed God?
No, I haven't.
What is your proof for God?
Well, the proof that God exists is that if he did not exist, you couldn't prove anything. Because if he didn't exist, there would be no revelation from omniscience to tell our finite minds what's true. And we don't know everything, so therefore, if we don't have revelation from omniscience to tell us what's true, we could always be wrong about what we think is true. For example, how do you prove that I exist right now and that I'm not a figment of your imagination? How do you know you're not talking to yourself right now without revelation from God to tell you that human beings exist?
Social etiquette. I have observed others speaking with you. I have interacted with others speaking with you.
But those could be illusions in your mind. How do you know that you're not the only mind that exists?
Because if I acted on things that, if I went to assumption that everything was not real, my reality, there would be, things to tell me that it was real, such as unable to move about freely, unable to do things freely, because then I would probably be in jail or I would be dead.
Well, all of that could just be illusory experiences in your consciousness. Like,
then why are you here?
No, I'm saying in your worldview, if there's no revelation from God, that could totally be the case. But I'm saying because God is, I'm saying that's not the case because God has revealed to us that it's not the case. He's revealed to us that human beings actually exist, that are different entities with different consciousnesses that interact with one another. But I'm saying if you don't have revelation from the all-knowing being who knows everything, who never lies, to tell you that that's true, then with your limited knowledge, you could always be wrong, and there's no way for you to justify the belief that other human beings exist. That's the proof that God exists, is that if he did not exist, you could not prove anything. Try to prove anything without God, and you won't be able to do it.
Okay. Why are there so many religions in the world that each say that exact thing?
Well, they don't all say the exact same thing. But there are different religions in the world because people practice idolatry. They don't want to follow the one true God. Romans 1 talks about that. How people know that God exists, but they suppress the truth in unrighteousness. They create idols for themselves.